Hello and welcome. I'm Saeed from StoryPlanet.net. Dive right into the essence of the most captivating books without reading them cover to cover. Whether you're on the go, at the gym, or just relaxing at home, we offer you a unique and enriching listening experience. Today, we are exploring the book Endurance, a creation by Alfred Lansing. Endurance, 1959, recounts Sir Ernest Shackleton's legendary expedition across the Antarctic continent. It vividly portrays his race against the clock, the unforgiving elements, and the most extreme climate on Earth in order to save his crew. Before we delve into these revelations, it's interesting to note that Alfred Lansing, a journalist and author born in Chicago, achieved his greatest fame with the book Endurance. With 7 key ideas to unveil, brace yourself for a deep dive into this captivating book on StoryPlanet.net. To start, the text is promoting a story that focuses on the resilience of the human spirit, which is even more remarkable because it is based on true events. This is a brief summary of the text. Ernest Shackleton's remarkable leadership and courage in bringing his expedition crew back to civilization against overwhelming odds is an astonishing true tale. It is a riveting story of a race against time and human endurance. Alfred Lansing's Endurance explores why this failed expedition has become a revered tale of exceptional leadership and incredible bravery. Key idea number 1. This text is too short to summarize. Could you please provide a longer text or more information? Sir Ernest Shackleton, famous for his failed attempt to reach the South Pole, planned a new expedition to cross the Antarctic continent. The ship Endurance set sail in October 1914, despite warnings of treacherous conditions in the Weddell Sea. The ship encountered and navigated through icebergs and ice packs for 2 weeks, but progress was slow. The landscape was filled with ice, but surprisingly, it was also teeming with life. Key idea number 2. The text is not provided, so it is not possible to summarize it. As summer approached, the ship was 200 miles away from land and surrounded by ice. They tried to navigate around the ice floes and sought shelter in larger icebergs. They encountered various forms of wildlife, including whales, seals, and penguins. In January 1915, they encountered packed ice and storms, which eventually trapped the ship in ice on all sides. They had to wait for another storm to free them. Meanwhile, they performed tasks like building shelters for the dogs and hunting for food. They spent the months cutting ice and preparing for the upcoming Antarctic winter, knowing they were far from help. Key idea number 3. The text is missing. Please provide the text you would like me to summarize. In 1915, Shackleton's crew of the Endurance found themselves trapped in the polar winter. Despite the difficulties, the crew remained close-knit and found ways to keep their spirits up through storytelling, games, and celebrations. However, the ship was eventually crushed by ice and sank, forcing the crew to salvage what they could and live on the ice. Key idea number 4. Into the Water is a book by Paula Hawkins that explores the mysterious deaths of women in a small town. The story unravels through multiple perspectives and reveals the dark secrets and interconnected relationships of the characters. After being trapped on the ice for 9 months, Shackleton and his crew decided to salvage the whaling boats from their broken ship, the Endurance, and travel across the ice in search of open water. Progress was slow, so they camped on the floating ice and hoped to be blown closer to land. The crew remained positive and relied on hunting for food. One day, they witnessed the Endurance sinking into the water, leaving them isolated on the ice with no connection to civilization. Key idea number 5. The text is missing, so there is nothing to summarize. In November, the explorers had been living on the ice for about a month and had developed survival skills. They were waiting for the ice to split so they could sail to the open sea, but it stayed solid. They tried to make progress again in December, but faced difficult conditions. By Christmas, they were slowly crossing the ice in terrible conditions. They noticed the ice breaking up and changed their plans to find a sturdy floe. They had to kill the dogs for food and were somber about their situation. In March, they felt the ice swell and saw land for the first time in over 16 months. However, they still believed there was no open water between them and the land. Key idea number 6. The text is not provided. Please provide the text that needs to be summarized. The crew of a ship was trapped on ice and had to track their drift until they found open water. They ended up near the dangerous Drake Passage. The ice they were on started breaking up, so they had to quickly launch their boats. They rowed towards Elephant Island but progressed slowly and faced frostbite and exhaustion. They eventually reached the island after a challenging journey. Shackleton decided to leave with a small crew to get help, and they miraculously reached South Georgia Island. However, they still had to cross treacherous peaks to reach a whaling station and get rescue. Shackleton persisted and started climbing. Key idea number 7. The text did not provide any specific information or content to work with. Can you please provide a text or topic that you would like me to summarize? In 1916, 3 ragged men arrived at the Stromness whaling station on South Georgia Island. They were exhausted and had signs of frostbite. They asked for Anton Anderson, but were told he had been replaced by Thoralf Sörle. When they were taken to Thoralf, he was shocked, and one of the men identified himself as Shackleton, causing Thoralf to turn away and weep. In conclusion, Sir Ernest Shackleton successfully returned to his stranded crew on Elephant Island after 3 attempts. He and his crew were rescued by the Chilean seagoing tugboat Yelcho. Shackleton, relieved to hear that everyone was safe, wasted no time and quickly got all of his men on board the Yelcho. Despite the challenges faced, Shackleton's leadership and determination ensured the safety of his crew, solidifying his legacy as a legendary leader and adventurer. Thank you for listening to this summary. If you enjoyed this exploration, we invite you to discover other fascinating books on storyplanet.net. Don't wait any longer. A multitude of books, stories, and knowledge await you there. See you soon on storyplanet.net.